The presidential suite of the exclusive New York clinic was a tomb of silence, broken only by the rhythmic beeping of the heart monitor. Malcolm Reynolds, a 42-year-old tech billionaire and one of the few black CEOs among the Fortune 500, had been lying motionless for 18 days. A mysterious accident on his private jet had left a faint red scar across his left temple, the only visible mark of the tragedy that had nearly claimed his life. Also, everyone thought, what no one knew, not even his private doctors, was that Malcolm had woken up on the third day. He decided to remain still, his eyes closed and his breathing controlled, for a very specific reason. He needed to find out who had sabotaged his aircraft. "We need to reconsider our strategy, Victor," said Julia Reynolds, his wife of 7 years, her voice muffled but perfectly audible from behind the glass door. "The board is restless. Investors are nervous. We can't wait indefinitely." "Patience, dear sister," replied Victor Hayes, Malcolm's half-brother and the vice president of operations at Reynolds Tech. "One more week, and the board will vote to activate the incapacitation clause. Remember our agreement with Dr. Lauren. The medical reports are ready." Inside the room, Malcolm's heart pounded against the stillness of his body. His instincts were right. The accident had been just the beginning. The sabotage of his jet was not a simple assassination attempt, but part of an elaborate plot to seize control of his empire. "What about his lawyer, Diana Coleman?" Julia's voice cut through the air. "She's still insisting on seeing the original test results." "Diana won't be a problem for much longer," Victor replied with icy confidence. "I've arranged a meeting for her with the Bar Association's Ethics Committee. It seems some incriminating documents have been discovered in her office." Malcolm felt his blood boil. Diana Coleman, one of the few black lawyers in the corporate world, had been his mentor in law school and then his right-hand woman in building Reynolds Tech. He listened to the conspiracy against his most loyal advisor, and a new resolve hardened inside him. The bedroom door slid open softly. The footsteps that entered were different, light, rhythmic, and careful. "Good morning, Mr. Reynolds," a clear, professional voice said. "I'm Maya Ellis, your new night nurse." Malcolm caught the faint scent of lavender as she moved, checking his vitals. "Your readings are stable," she noted. Then he felt the light weight of someone sitting in the chair next to the bed. "I don't know if you can hear me," Maya began, her voice low, almost confessional, "but I need to tell you something. I shouldn't be here." Malcolm kept his breathing perfectly controlled, but his curiosity was piqued. "I was hired 3 days ago to replace your previous nurse," she continued. "She resigned suddenly, or so I was told, but last night I found something strange while reviewing your records. The sedation levels are well above protocol, and there are discrepancies in the neurological reports." She leaned closer, her voice now a whisper. "I'm not just a nurse, Mr. Reynolds. I'm a specialist in forensic neurology. Someone is deliberately keeping you sedated." Malcolm's heart skipped a beat, too slight for the monitors to detect. "I don't know who or why," Maya continued, "but I promise I'll find out and help you wake up, even if it means risking my job. I'm reducing your sedation gradually. No one will notice, but you should start showing signs of consciousness in a few days." Just then, the door swung open. Maya stepped away from the bed with professional ease. "Just checking vitals, Dr. Lauren," she said, her tone completely transformed. "Thanks, nurse. I'll take it from here." As the door closed, Malcolm felt simultaneously alarmed and hopeful. In a world where he thought he was completely alone, he had found an unexpected ally. What Maya didn't know was that he was already conscious, and behind those closed eyes, a plan was forming, a plan that would turn this family betrayal into his most powerful weapon. Malcolm's plan began to take shape on the third night after meeting Maya. As she adjusted his pillow, he risked an almost imperceptible movement, twitching his index finger twice when she asked if he could hear her. Maya froze, her eyes wide. "You're conscious." A single blink. "Yes." "We need a code," she whispered, checking the door. 1 movement for yes, 2 for no. "Blink once if you agree." A single blink. That same night, while the clinic slept, they developed a simple communication system. Maya brought cards with letters, and Malcolm spelled out words letter by letter. It was slow and exhausting, but every word was a victory. They sabotaged my plane, he spelled out on the first night. Who? She asked, incredulous. Julia and Victor. Project Aurora. Project Aurora. The revolutionary renewable energy system Reynolds Tech was developing under Malcolm's direct supervision. He had kept the details away from the board, sharing only with his most trusted associates. During the day, Maya watched. Victor appeared frequently, always with Dr. Laurent, reviewing medical records with feigned concern. Julia rarely visited, and when she did, she never touched Malcolm, her eyes cataloguing the valuables in the room. I have news about Diana Coleman, Maya informed him one evening. I got a contact at her office. The ethics committee is pressuring her with falsified documents, accusations of bribery and contract tampering. I sent her an anonymous message warning her. Diana is brilliant. She see right through the setup. Meanwhile, Victor was moving forward with his plan. Maya managed to record a conversation between him and Dr. Laurent in the hallway. The board will vote next week, Victor said, checking his gold watch. We need the final neurological report confirming permanent brain damage. It's almost ready, Laurent replied nervously, but the night nurse has been asking a lot of questions. She's just a nurse, Victor sighed. If she causes problems, fire her. What they didn't suspect was that Malcolm was not just listening, he was regaining his strength. Under Maya's careful guidance, he performed small exercises when no one was looking, strengthening himself for the right moment. On the sixth night, Maya brought an unexpected visitor. I have someone here who needs to see you, she whispered. I trust her completely. A stern-looking woman approached the bed. Mr. Reynolds, I'm Dr. Kun, a specialist in forensic neurology. Maya came to me concerned about your case. She instructed Maya to close the curtains and lock the door. For 30 minutes, Dr. Kun discreetly examined Malcolm. As we suspected, there is no permanent neurological damage, she finally declared. The prolonged sedation is criminal. We need hard evidence, though, something that can't be challenged in court. I have an idea, Dr. Kun replied, opening her briefcase. But it's risky and will need Mr. Reynolds' full cooperation. The next morning, Victor entered the Reynolds Tech executive boardroom with a triumphant smile. Ladies and gentlemen, he announced, handing out documents. As you can see from the medical report, my brother has, unfortunately, suffered irreversible brain damage. Elizabeth Okafor, the only black board member, and Malcolm's longtime friend, examined the documents suspiciously. This seems too convenient, Victor. Malcolm was in perfect health. Tragedies happen, Elizabeth, Julia replied sweetly, a flash of irritation in her eyes. Elizabeth noticed Julia wasn't wearing her wedding ring. We all have great admiration for what Malcolm built, Victor continued, his honeyed voice hiding the ambition pulsing beneath. But we need to be realistic. The stock has dropped 12% since the accident. Investors need stability. What Victor didn't know was that Elizabeth was discreetly recording every word on her phone. A plan was in motion, not his, but Malcolm's. And while the conspirators believed they were one step away from victory, they had no idea that Malcolm Reynolds was already preparing for the most extraordinary appearance of his life. At that very moment, in the private clinic, Maya exchanged a meaningful glance with Dr. Kun as they looked at the results of a secret test. The monitor showed something no one expected. The man everyone believed to be on the verge of death was not only fully conscious, but had regained much more control over his body than anyone could have suspected. Ready for the next phase, Maya asked as Dr. Kun packed up the portable equipment. Malcolm's eyes opened fully for the first time in weeks, and the slow, determined smile formed on his lips. More than ready, he replied, his voice a little hoarse, but loaded with purpose. They think they're taking over my empire, but they have no idea what's coming. The Reynolds Tech boardroom was as quiet as a courtroom awaiting a verdict. Victor smiled discreetly as he distributed copies of the falsified medical reports. If there are no further questions, he announced, we can proceed to vote. Elizabeth O'Keefe raised her hand. One final question. Why isn't Dr. Lauron here to explain his findings in person? Unfortunately, the doctor has been called away on an emergency, Victor said, exchanging a glance with Julia. As clear as his conscience, Victor. A deep, steady voice echoed from the doorway. All eyes turned abruptly. Malcolm Reynolds stood there, impeccably dressed in a navy blue suit, leaning slightly on a dark wooden cane. At his side, Maya and Dr. Coma watched the shocked reactions of the board. Diana Coleman, his lawyer, followed close behind. Julia knocked her glass of water onto the table. Victor froze, his face drained of all color. "That's impossible," he muttered. "You're in a coma, Dr. Lauron confirmed it. Dr. Lauron," Malcolm interrupted, stepping into the center of the room, "is currently being questioned by the police on charges of falsifying medical documents and attempted murder through criminal negligence." Dr. Coma stepped forward, placing a set of neurological tests on the table. "As an independent forensic neurologist, I can confirm that Mr. Reynolds was kept in an artificially sedated state without any medical necessity." "Absurd," Julia protested, her composure completely shattered. "My husband had a terrible accident. A very convenient accident," Malcolm added coldly. "A jet with impeccable maintenance that mysteriously suffers a critical hydraulic failure precisely when you were pushing for a review of the company's shareholding structure." Diana opened her briefcase and distributed documents. "Here we have records of communications between Julia Reynolds and Victor Hayes in the weeks leading up to the accident. You'll notice specific references to a permanent solution to the Aurora obstacle. This is ridiculous." Victor tried to regain control. "We were talking about technical obstacles to the project, not Malcolm." Malcolm smiled for the first time. "Maya, please." The nurse stepped forward with a tablet, playing a video of Victor in the clinic hallway talking to Dr. Lauron. "Keep him sedated until the board vote. Then we can let nature take its course." The board members watched in utter shock. "This is a montage," Victor stammered, his face red with panic. "This nurse," Maya corrected calmly, "is a forensic neurology expert, certified in digital evidence analysis. And we have much more." Diana placed another document on the table, bank records showing substantial payments from an offshore company controlled by Victor to Dr. Lauron, beginning 3 days before the accident. Elizabeth O'Keefe stood up, furious. "This is disgusting. Attempted murder, corporate fraud, family betrayal." Malcolm approached Victor, who was now backing away. "You know what fascinates me most, Victor? How you and Julia really believed you could take me down so easily. As if I, who built this company from the ground up, facing prejudice at every meeting, every negotiation, every investment round, would just give up." Julia, seeing everything fall apart, tried one last card. "Malcolm, dear, you're confused. We were just trying to protect you." "Spare me," Malcolm cut her off. "Is your wedding ring in your purse, or has it already been sold?" Security guards quietly entered the room. "Mr. Reynolds," the head of security said, "the police are waiting. Shall we escort Mr. Hayes and Mrs. Reynolds there, please?" As the guards approached, Victor panicked. "You don't understand. The Aurora project will destroy our biggest contracts. He's throwing away decades of work for a charity project." "It's not charity," Malcolm replied calmly as Victor was led away. "It's the future. And as for the investors, they've already approved it. The vote took place last night, while you were plotting my death." When the room emptied, Malcolm finally sat down in the chair Victor had occupied. Exhaustion was visible on his face. "I thought we were losing you," Elizabeth whispered, squeezing his shoulder. "I would have been lost," Malcolm replied, looking at Maya, "if it weren't for someone who refused to be an accomplice to an injustice, even when it would have been easier to remain silent." That conspiracy had revealed something much deeper than a simple family betrayal. It had connected the assassination attempt to a more powerful circle and network of executives in the traditional energy industry who stood to lose everything from Project Aurora. -1 month had passed since that explosive board meeting, The Reynolds Tech headquarters had been transformed. Malcolm watched the city from his redesigned office window. The newspapers reported the final sentences. Victor, 15 years. Julia, 8 years. Dr. Lauron had lost his medical license and was awaiting trial. "You need to see this," Mayer said. Entering the room, the video showed children in a public school testing the new lights powered by the Aurora system. "The first pilot project is working perfectly. A 78% reduction in energy bills. What about the investors?" Malcolm asked, smiling. Nervous, Mayer laughed. "The stock is up 42% since the national rollout was announced. Looks like doing good can be profitable after all." Malcolm had established the Reynolds Ellis Foundation for Ethics in Healthcare, allocating a portion of the Aurora project's profits to reform hospital practices. "You saved my life, Mayer," he explained. "Your name deserves to be there." Later, as they walked through the new research center, Mayer commented, "What impresses me most isn't the technology. It's the culture change. Half of these researchers would never have had a chance in a traditional corporation." "When you're on the floor like I was," Malcolm replied, "you realize who really cares." "It took me nearly dying to understand that true success isn't just about what we achieve, but what we build for others." In the lobby, a new glass plaque was engraved with a quote, "True strength isn't how much power you accumulate, but how you respond when that power is threatened. It is in our moments of greatest vulnerability that we discover our true essence." Mayer smiled, recognizing her own words. Who would have thought a temporary nurse and a billionaire supposedly in a coma would change so many lives? Malcolm took her hand gently. "We're not done yet. We're just getting started."